President Obama raised some eyebrows earlier this week when asked by a New Republic reporter if he'd ever fired a gun. Obama responded that he does skeet shooting, quote, all the time up at Camp David. But evidence of the president's marksmanship is lacking, aside from this photo from Sasha's birthday party. And so some wonder if he was opining on a subject he's less than familiar with, which wouldn't be a first in the history of American politics. In fact, Obama's former opponent didn't sound too canny on the whole hunting and shooting thing either.
I've always been, if you will, a rodent and rabbit hunter, all right, small varmints, if you will.
Back in 1988, there was the infamous Dukakis in the tank photo op, not exactly the portrait of a man versed in battle. Dukakis, of course, lost that election to George H.W. Bush, who himself appeared a bit out of touch when he displayed amazement at the workings of a supermarket scanner.
The president said that he was amazed.
I'm curious, have you ever Googled anybody?
Bush 43, who was in the White House as the internet became ubiquitous, had his out-of-touch moments as well.
And one of the things that I've used on the Google is to pull up maps. It's very interesting to see that. I forgot the name of the program, but where you get the satellite.
But perhaps the least savvy of all on the internets, the late Alaskan Senator Ted Stevens, who actually led the committee that regulates the internet when he gave this impassioned, if less than technical, description of it.
The internet is not something that you just dump something on. It's not a big truck. It's a series of tubes.
And so is this skeet shooting thing another example of a politician not quite knowing his subject matter? Fact checker Glen Kessler is here. You've been looking into this, so what do we know about Obama and his skeet shooting?
We actually don't know very much, except for what the president said, which was, we do skeet shooting all the time. But the White House has not provided us with a photograph. We have not heard from any friend of the president who was there.
And so it's hard to prove a negative, but you've sort of been demonstrating that he hasn't spoken the way you would think a politician would if he was a sportsman hunter or shooter.
Right. I mean, I went back and looked at literally every article I could that somehow referenced President Obama and skeet shooting. And you know, when he met with the Olympic athletes, he talked about the sports that meant something to him because he couldn't believe that they would do that in the swimming pool or what have you. He made no reference to skeet shooting then.
Mentioning other sports, but not really shooting.
Exactly. And then if you go back during the 2008 campaign, I found references to, at one point, a gun group inviting him to a skeet shooting contest, but I spoke to the guy who ran that group, who said that the president actually never showed up for that.
Whether or not he's personally been skeet shooting all the time, skeet shooting at Camp David has been a thing for many administrations.
Yes, you can find, there's videos of Jack Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy shooting there. There's a picture you can find put out by the White House of Jack Kennedy shooting with future Washington Post editor Ben Bradley. There are pictures of Dwight Eisenhower, apparently was quite avid user of the skeet range there. And was constantly practicing. The Bush brothers, Jeb and George, would use it a lot.
But the conclusion of your fact-finding does not result in Pinocchios?
This is not something where the president or a politician is making a charge against another politician that can't be proven. In this case, he's talking about himself. And so I'm willing to give a little more time and say, you know, give us the evidence. Obviously, if no picture is forthcoming and no other people come forward to talk about this, it becomes much more dubious and we might award Pinocchios then.
Glenn, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay, that'll do it for us for tonight. We will fold things up. Hope to see you back here tomorrow.